My name is Ethan. I died at my own wedding. It wasn't an accident. I was poisoned. The moment the poison took effect, I watched the terrified expressions of the guests below, watched the bride Olivia rush toward that man in the audience, and everything became clear. She never loved me. She never had. That man is called Noah, the brother I grew up with and the person I trust most. Olivia is the woman I pursued for 5 years. She said she needed time to think, to see my sincerity. I thought she was testing me, but I didn't expect she had been waiting for someone else to summon the courage. Ethan, Olivia finally ran onto the stage, tears falling like strings of pearls breaking apart. I wanted to speak, but found even my tongue wouldn't obey. I'm sorry, she sobbed as if her heart would break. I didn't know it would be like this. I really didn't know. Didn't know what? Didn't know Noah would poison me? Or didn't know I would die so quickly? In my last hazy moments of consciousness, I saw a girl in the crowd holding a phone and making a call, probably to call an ambulance. It was Sophia, my college classmate, and the only one who had from the start advised me not to chase after Olivia. She said, "Ethan, some people aren't worth you doing this for." But at the time I thought she was jealous. Now that I think about it, she must have seen something long ago. At the moment the poison hit, a lot of things came back to me. I remembered Olivia always leaving our dates early. I remembered her constantly listening to me absent-mindedly. I remembered the light in her eyes when she looked at Noah. The details I had chosen to ignore became unbearably clear in the face of death. I should have woken up sooner. But now it's too late to say anything. Everything went black, and the world fell into eternal silence. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the spring of my junior year. In the dorm, my roommate Lucas was playing a game. Noticing I was awake, he didn't even look up as he said, "Ethan, Olivia is waiting for you downstairs." Olivia? I was stunned for a few seconds. Then all my memories surged back like a tide. I was reborn, sent back to the night I first confessed to Olivia and was rejected. Back then I acted like a fool, thinking she refused me out of shyness. So I decided to spend 5 years proving my sincerity, winning her over with countless flowers, gifts, and my constant presence. Thinking back now, it's really laughable. Some people are simply not meant for you. No amount of effort will do more than move yourself. I stood up to straighten my clothes. Lucas glanced at me curiously. "What's wrong? Aren't you usually so thrilled you practically jump whenever you hear Olivia's name?" "Nothing," I said calmly. "I'll go down and take a look." Downstairs, Olivia was wearing a white dress, her long hair flowing. She was indeed very beautiful. When she saw me come down, a somewhat forced smile appeared on her face. "Ethan, about what happened this afternoon." "I understand." I interrupted her. "You rejected me, and I accept it." Olivia froze, clearly not expecting me to say that. In my past life, I said a lot of childish things at times like this. "I'll wait for you forever. One day I'll make you see how good I am." Thinking back now, those words are so laughable. "You're really not angry?" she asked cautiously. "Why be angry?" I asked in return. "Loving someone is my freedom, and refusing me is your freedom too." She let out a sigh of relief, then said, "Can we still be friends?" In my previous life, I agreed without hesitation, thinking that would let me gradually get closer to her. Now I shook my head. "Forget it. It's better if we keep our distance." A trace of disappointment flashed across Olivia's face, but she quickly concealed it. Then, fine. She turned and walked away, her steps a little hurried, as if escaping something. I watched her back quietly, my heart completely unmoved. Having experienced death once, some obsessions naturally fell away. Just then, a familiar voice sounded behind me. "Have you figured it out?" I turned around and saw Sophia standing under the tree's shadow, holding a thick professional book. In my previous life, I was busy chasing Olivia and never took a close look at Sophia. Now I realized she was actually very pretty. Not the flamboyant kind of beauty Olivia had, but a quiet beauty. She always wore simple clothes, didn't wear makeup, yet her eyes were very clear and sincere. Sort of. I walked toward her. "What are you doing here?" "Just passing by," she said, then glanced in the direction Olivia had left. What did she want from you? To turn me down, I said calmly. Sophia blinked, and then I accepted it and decided not to bother her anymore. She nodded as if she'd long expected that outcome. That's quite good. We walked side by side toward the dormitory building when Sophia suddenly said, Ethan, do you know, sometimes the best kind of love isn't a sweeping, dramatic pursuit, but quiet, unnoticed companionship. I stopped, looked at her, and asked, Are you implying something? Her face flushed, and she looked down at the book in her hands. No, I was just saying it casually. But I knew she wasn't saying it casually. In my past life, she watched me pester Olivia to death. She saw it all, and had repeatedly advised me to give up. She said Olivia had someone else in her heart, that my doing this would only hurt myself. At the time, I thought she was jealous. Only now do I understand she was genuinely concerned for me. Sophia, I called after her. HM? She looked up, a cautious hope in her eyes. Are you free tomorrow night? I'd like to take you out to dinner. Her eyes lit up for a moment, then dimmed. Aren't asking me to help you woo Olivia, are you? I smiled. I've already said it. I won't chase her anymore. Then why are you? Because I want to get to know you. I looked at her seriously. In my past life, before, I always ignored you. Now I want to make up for that mistake. She stared at me in a daze and didn't speak for a long time. After a long while, she nodded. Okay. Back at the dorm, Lucas asked curiously, How did it go? Did Olivia forgive you? No, I said, but there's no need for forgiveness anymore. What do you mean? I'm not going after her. Lucas almost fell off his chair. Do you have a fever? I shook my head without explaining. Some things you only understand after you've been through them. That night, I lay in bed and thought a lot. Thinking of all the details of Olivia and Noah being together in my past life. Thinking of my clown-like performances. Thinking of Sophia's goodwill that I had ignored. If I could start over, I would want a different life. A life that wouldn't leave me covered in wounds. The next day, I met Noah in the library. He obviously froze for a moment when he saw me, then greeted me awkwardly. Ethan, what are you doing here? In my previous life, I never came to the library. I spent all my time trying to please Olivia. Studying. I answered simply, then went back to the book in my hands. Noah sat across from me, looking like he wanted to say something, but held back. Say what you need to say. I didn't even look up. About Olivia yesterday. Are you okay? He asked cautiously. I looked up at him. In my previous life, I treated him as my best brother and shared everything with him. But now I knew he had long had feelings for Olivia. He just never confessed. I'm fine, I said, just got rejected. It's not the end of the world. Noah clearly hadn't expected me to be so calm. He probed. So, will you still pursue her? No. A trace of pleasure flashed in his eyes, but he quickly covered it up. Why? Don't you like her a lot? Liking someone and getting them are two different things. I closed the book and looked at him. Since someone else is in her heart, why should I make a fool of myself? Noah's expression shifted slightly. She has someone else in her heart. Didn't you know? I asked deliberately. He shook his head, but his gaze was somewhat evasive. I smiled and didn't continue that topic. In my previous life, they had been in contact behind the scenes, and the person involved, was the last to find out. Thinking about it now, it's truly ironic. When I left the library, I ran into Sophia at the entrance. She was carrying a stack of books that looked somewhat heavy. Let me help you, I offered, stepping forward. No, it's fine. I can manage, she said. It's okay. I took the book from her without a word. It's so heavy. You'll get tired carrying it alone. Sophia looked up at me, surprise and delight in her eyes. Thank you. We walked out together. Suddenly Sophia said, You look different today. Different how? You used to always have a restless look in your eyes, but now you seem very calm. She paused. Is it because you let Olivia go? I nodded. Sort of. Some people are simply not meant to be yours. Forcing it only brings you pain. Then, do you have someone you like now? Her voice was very small, almost inaudible. I stopped walking, looked at her flushed cheeks, and a warm feeling suddenly welled up in my chest. In my past life, While I spent 5 years chasing Olivia, Sophia quietly stayed by my side. She comforted me when I was down, laughed with me when I was happy, and reminded me when I made mistakes. But at that time, my heart and eyes were full of Olivia. I never noticed how good she was. Yes, I said seriously. Her expression dimmed. It is who? She's a very special girl. I looked at her. She's not flashy, not pretentious, and she has the most sincere heart. She guides me when I'm lost. She warns me in time when I make mistakes, and she tells me the truth when everyone else thinks I'm right. Sophia stared at me, tears slowly welling up in her eyes. She's beautiful, though she might not see it herself. Her beauty isn't on the outside, but in her soul. She made me understand what true love is. Ethan, her voice trembled. Sophia, will you give me a chance? I held her hand. Give me the chance to love you properly. Tears slid down her cheeks, and she nodded vigorously. Yes, I will. I gently held her, feeling the tremor in her body. At that moment, I suddenly understood what peace of mind meant. Not the excitement of having captured prey, not the thrill of conquest, but a calm and profound contentment. It felt like a ship that had drifted for a long time, finally finding a harbor. Sorry, I whispered in her ear, for making you wait so long. She shook her head. Not long. Not long at all. Actually, I knew she had been waiting a long time, quietly liking me since freshman year. She watched me suffer for Olivia, watched me hit wall after wall, watched me tear myself apart. But she never took advantage of my weakness. Instead, she kept urging me to pull myself together. How could one not feel pity for such a girl? I won't make you wait anymore, I promised. She laughed in my arms, laughing like a child. Okay. That night, we went to a small restaurant near the school. It wasn't anything fancy, but it was cozy. Sophia ordered the cheapest dishes she could. I knew she was saving money for me. In my past life, I spent a lot of my family's dollars chasing Olivia. Buying expensive gifts, booking fancy restaurants, doing those things I thought were romantic. But Olivia was never truly happy. Now, watching Sophia reveal a satisfied smile over a simple bowl of noodle soup, I suddenly understand what it means to be content. What are you thinking about? She asks, noticing I'm zoning out. I was thinking about the past, I said. Thinking about how I could have missed someone as good as you. She blushed. I'm not as good as you say. You are, I said earnestly. Even better than I imagined. She looked down at her soup, not daring to meet my eyes. I know she wasn't used to such direct expressions. In my previous life, I never said anything like this to her. But I wanted her to know the place she held in my heart. Sophia, I want to ask you a question. Why did you tell me from the start not to chase Olivia? She put down her chopsticks and, after a moment of silence, said, because I could tell she had someone else in her heart. How could you tell? If a girl really likes you, she can't hide in her eyes. But when Olivia looks at you, there is no love in her eyes, only apology and a sense of burden. She paused, and I've seen the way she looks at another person. There was light in her eyes. My heart stirred. Another person? Noah. She spoke the name I had expected. Even if they think they're hiding it well, you can't hide the way you look at someone when you like them. Sure enough, nothing could be hidden from her. If you've already seen through it, why didn't you just tell me? She gave a bitter laugh. Do you think you would have believed me if I had? You would just think I said it out of jealousy. I held her hand. I'm sorry, I was so stubborn back then. It's okay. Don't you understand now? She held my hand back. Actually, I should thank Olivia. If she hadn't rejected you, you wouldn't have seen me. I looked at her tender eyes, a wave of guilt swelling in my heart. She has given so much for me, and I was completely unaware. I will make it up to you properly in the future, I promised. She shook her head. I don't need compensation. I just want you to be able to see me. That's enough. Such a simple request, yet I made her wait for so long. I really am a jerk. After dinner, I walked her back to the dormitory building. The campus was very quiet at night, with only the streetlights casting a gentle glow. I had a great time today, she said. It was even better than I imagined. Then let's do this often from now on. Okay. She nodded, then rose on her tiptoes and gently kissed my cheek. Good night. Watching her run toward the dormitory building, I couldn't help but laugh. This feeling is wonderful. No need to guess, no need to probe, no need to carefully maintain things. All that's needed is to treat each other sincerely. The next day in class, I noticed Olivia and Noah sitting together. In my previous life, they were more cautious at this point, not daring to act too openly. Now that I'm no longer pursuing Olivia, they have started to feel defiant. Human nature is sometimes that complicated. After class, Olivia took the initiative to come up to me. "Ethan, have you really decided not to pursue me?" There was an unmistakable sense of disappointment in her tone. I looked at her, my heart completely calm. "Yes." "Why?" she pressed on. "Is it because I refused too directly?" I shook my head. "Not because of you, but because I've come to understand." "Understand what?" "I've realized that a relationship forced into existence won't bring happiness." I stood up. "Olivia, you're a good girl, but you're not right for me." Her face went a little pale. "Then, who is right for you?" "Sophia." I didn't hide it. Olivia was stunned. She clearly hadn't expected me to have a new target so quickly. "Sophia? When did you?" "Since yesterday," I said. "She's a very good girl. I had been overlooking her before." Olivia bit her lip, a flicker of complicated emotion in her eyes. I knew what she was thinking. In my previous life, I chased her for 5 years. Countless times she hinted that someone else was in her heart, but I refused to let go. Now that I had so quickly fallen for someone else, she probably felt her own allure was being questioned. Women are like that sometimes. When they can't have something, they don't cherish it, but once they've lost it, they become resentful. "Are you serious?" she asked. "Very serious." I packed my bag. "More serious than the feelings I had for you before." Those words pierced her heart like a thorn. Her face grew even paler. "Then we have nothing left to say." I cut her off. "Olivia, I wish you happiness. Being with someone who truly loves you will make you happy." She stared at me in a daze, not saying anything for a long while. I ignored her and walked out of the classroom. When I reached the door, I heard Noah's comforting voice behind me. "Olivia, it's okay. If he doesn't cherish you, that's his loss." I couldn't help shaking my head. Wasn't I the one who comforted myself like that in my past life? But now I understand it's not anyone's loss. It just wasn't a good match. In the afternoon, Sophia came to see me. She had an uncontainable happiness on her face. "I heard you rejected Olivia today." News travels that fast. I was a little surprised. "She came to see me," Sophia said, "to ask if it's true that I'm really with you." "How did you answer?" I said yes. "Is there a problem?" She imitated Olivia's tone, then giggled. You should have seen her expression at the time. I couldn't help laughing too. "You're pretty proud of yourself." "Of course I am." She linked her arm with mine. "I beat the prettiest girl in school, you know." "You're beautiful too," I said earnestly. She shook her head. "I know my own limits. Olivia is indeed more beautiful than I am. Outer beauty is fleeting. Inner beauty is what endures." I stopped walking and looked at her, and in my eyes, "You're more beautiful than anyone." Her face flushed, and she pushed me. "You smooth-talking charmer." We went up the small hill behind the school. There was a pavilion there that few people visited. Sitting in the pavilion, Sophia suddenly asked me, "Ethan, will you ever regret someday?" "Regret what?" "Regret choosing me instead of Olivia." Her voice was very soft, bearing a trace of unease. "She's so beautiful, comes from a good family, has so many suitors." I took her hand. "Sophia, I'm going to ask you a question. If one day I encounter difficulty and need someone's help, what would you do?" She replied without hesitation, "I would do everything I could to help you. If helping me would mean you had to take on risk, then I would be willing too. If helping me means you have to give up your own interests, I still would." She looked at me, eyes steady. "Because I love you." I gently stroked her cheek. "That's why I chose you. Not because you're so beautiful, not because of your family status, but because of your heart." Tears welled in her eyes. "But Olivia wouldn't." I cut her off. "She only stays by my side when things are going smoothly. Once I hit a rough patch, she'll be the first to leave. This wasn't speculation, but a lesson learned in blood from my previous life. After Olivia married me, she appeared to be a good wife on the surface, but in her heart she was always thinking of Noah. When I was kidnapped by enemies, she not only didn't believe my cries for help, she thought I was putting on a show. And Sophia? At the wedding in my past life, everyone else fled in terror. She was the only one who immediately took out her phone to call an ambulance. Although she ultimately couldn't save my life, she was the only one who tried. That's the difference. How are you so sure? Sophia asked curiously. I couldn't tell her about my rebirth, so I could only say, a feeling. She smiled. Your intuition is pretty accurate. If only in my previous life I had trusted my intuition sooner. The sky grew dark, and we went down the mountain back to school. On the way, we ran into Lucas. When he saw Sophia and me holding hands, he was so surprised his mouth couldn't close. Ethan, what are you? We're together, I admitted openly. Lucas looked at me in disbelief, then at Sophia. Since when? Since yesterday, Sophia said shyly. What about Olivia? Wasn't she your favorite? I shook my head. I liked the wrong person before. I'm correcting it now. Lucas still found it hard to believe. Are you sure you don't have a fever? I took Sophia's hand. Let's go. Don't pay him any mind. Sophia giggled as she left with me, leaving Lucas standing alone, disheveled in the wind. Back in the dorm, I found a bouquet of flowers and a card on my desk. The card read, Ethan, I think we can start over. Olivia. I looked at the card, and an indescribable feeling welled up inside me. In my past life, I gave her countless bouquets, but she never accepted a single one. Now that I'm no longer chasing her, she has started taking the initiative instead. I threw the flowers and the card into the trash, then sent Sophia a text. I've been thinking about you. She replied quickly. I've been thinking about you too. Just a few simple words, yet they filled my heart with warmth. This is what love should look like. Simple and beautiful. No need to guess. No need to test the waters. No need to worry about gains and losses. All that's needed is to love each other sincerely. A week later, the school held a club recruitment fair. Sophia and I went to the club recruitment fair together, planning to find a few interesting clubs to join. At the literature club's booth, we ran into Olivia and Noah. Olivia looked noticeably displeased when she saw us holding hands. You're signing up for clubs too? Noah greeted us first, but his tone was somewhat awkward. Yeah. I replied to him, what about you? We want to join the literature club. Olivia said, then looked at Sophia. Sophia, your writing has always been excellent. Why don't you join the literature club too? Sophia shook her head. I want to join the volunteer association. The volunteer association? Olivia frowned. That club is pretty tiring. They often have to do public service activities. I think it's quite meaningful. Sophia said, being able to help others makes you happy too. Olivia curled her lip, clearly not understanding. I suddenly remembered some things from my past life. Sophia did join the volunteer association and often volunteered at orphanages and nursing homes. She had even invited me to go with her, but I refused to stay with Olivia. Now that I think about it, I missed a lot of wonderful times with her. I want to join the volunteer association too, I said. Sophia looked at me with surprise. Really? Really? I nodded. Doing meaningful things with you. Olivia said coldly from the side, Ethan, you used to hate doing this kind of thing. People can change, I replied calmly. I was indeed very immature before. That remark made Olivia's face look even worse. She was probably remembering the things I used to do to please her. Then let's go sign up first. I took Sophia's hand. Good luck to you both. After leaving the literature club's booth, Sophia asked me curiously, do you really want to join the volunteer association? You're not saying that just to accompany me, are you? Of course not, I said earnestly. I really want to do something meaningful. I used to waste my time on pointless pursuits. Now I want to change. Her eyes shone. Then let's work hard together. At the Volunteer Association's booth, we met the club president, a senior named Daniel. He glanced at our registration form and said with a smile, welcome to join us. But let me make one thing clear. Our club has a lot of activities and they're quite tiring. so you need to be prepared. We're not afraid of hard work, Sophia said. Daniel nodded. That's good. This weekend, we're going to a primary school in the Chingsong Mountain area to do volunteer teaching. Do you want to participate? Sophia and I exchanged a look, and we both saw the excitement in each other's eyes. We'll participate, I said. Daniel smiled satisfactorily. Good. I'll let you know the specific arrangements then. After leaving the club recruitment site, Sophia said excitedly, We're really going to do volunteer teaching. Seeing her so happy, a sense of unprecedented fulfillment rose in my heart. In my past life, I spent countless US dollars to please Olivia and did countless things I thought were romantic, yet I never felt this kind of heartfelt joy. Now I understand that true happiness doesn't come from receiving something, but from giving something. The weekend arrived quickly. Early in the morning, we gathered and set off for the Chingsong Mountain area. The drive took a little over 3 hours, and Sophia fell asleep on my shoulder. I watched her peaceful sleeping face, a boundless tenderness welling up inside me. A girl like this is worth a lifetime of protection. By the time we arrived at Chingsong Mountain Primary School, the children were already waiting for us. This is a rural primary school with only a couple dozen students. The conditions are very poor, but the children's eyes all shine with a thirst for knowledge. Good morning, teacher, the children shouted in unison. Sophia was moved to tears by the sound. They are so adorable. Over the next 2 days, we studied with the children, played with them, and ate with them. I teach them math, and Sophia teaches them language arts. Watching the children study so earnestly, I felt a sense of accomplishment for the first time. The next night, Sophia and I sat on the playground watching the stars. The night sky over the mountains was clear, the heavens sparkling with countless stars. Ethan, Sophia gently called my name. Thank you for coming here with me. She leaned on my shoulder. I feel so happy. I feel happy too. I took her hand. Happier than I've ever been. Before. She looked up at me. You mean when you were with Olivia? I shook my head. I was never truly with her. What I thought was being together was actually just my own one-sided wish. Do you regret it? She asked cautiously, regretting that you saw me so late? I gently kissed her forehead. No regret. If I hadn't had those experiences, I wouldn't have understood what true love is. She laughed in my arms. Then I should thank Olivia. Why? If she hadn't rejected you, you wouldn't have noticed me either. I hug her tightly. One day you'll get my attention because there's light in you. She tilted her head up at me. What light? The light of kindness, the light of sincerity, the light of goodness. I looked into her eyes. That kind of light will sooner or later catch my eye. Tears welled in her eyes. Ethan, I love you. I love you too. I gently stroked her cheek, more than I thought I did. That night, we held each other and watched the stars all night long. There was nothing more romantic than that. After returning from the teaching trip, my relationship with Sophia grew even deeper. We began planning our future, discussing jobs after graduation and which city to live in. Sophia wants to be a teacher. I want to start a non-profit organization dedicated to helping children in mountainous areas. Although these plans are still far off, we are both working earnestly toward them. Just as we were immersed in our sweet romance, an unexpected piece of news arrived. Olivia and Noah broke up. The news was told to me by Lucas, who said gossipingly, I heard Olivia broke up with him. I don't know the specific reason, but she looked very upset. I didn't feel much after hearing it, just a bit surprised. In the previous life, they only got together after graduating, and their relationship was always very good. How could they break up in this life? But that has nothing to do with me. Right now, I'm only concerned about Sophia. But obviously, Olivia didn't see it that way. The next afternoon, she came to find me. Sophia and I were reading in the library when she suddenly appeared in front of us. She looked haggard, her eyes red. Obviously, she'd been crying. Ethan, can I talk to you alone? She said. Sophia looked at me, and I squeezed her hand. Wait here for me. I'll be right back. I followed Olivia out to the garden outside the library. Do you need to talk to me about something? I asked directly. She bit her lip, then said, Noah and I broke up. I heard, I said calmly. My condolences. She froze for a moment. clearly not expecting me to use the word "my condolences." "Don't you have anything else to say?" she asked. "What should I say?" I retorted. "Congrats on finally seeing his true face." Her expression changed. "What do you mean?" "Noah likes you, but he prefers the feeling of conquering me." I looked at her. After I stepped back, he found victory came too easily, and the thrill of conquest was gone. So he started picking at you, began finding fault with this and that about you. Olivia widened her eyes. How do you know?" "Just a guess," I said. "Because I know him." In fact, it wasn't a guess. In my previous life, I saw Noah's attitude toward Olivia with my own eyes. After I died, they did end up together, but Noah soon grew tired of Olivia. Things that come too easily are often not cherished. "Are you satisfied now?" Olivia had tears in her eyes. "Aren't you happy to see us break up?" I shook my head. "I have no feelings about it. Your affairs have nothing to do with me." "Nothing to do with you?" she said excitedly. "Ethan, you clearly still love me. You got together with Sophia so quickly just to spite me, didn't you?" I couldn't help laughing. "Olivia, you think much too highly of yourself." She was stunned. "I'm with Sophia because I love her," I said seriously. "Not to spite anyone, and certainly not to get revenge." "Impossible," she shook her head. "How could you forget me so quickly? You chased me for so long." "That's because I didn't know what love was before." I looked at her. "Now I do." "What about me?" she cried. "I know I was wrong now. I regret it now. Can't we start over?" I watched her quietly, feeling nothing at all. In my past life, if I had heard her say that, I would have rushed to her without hesitation. But now, I only found it laughable. "Olivia, do you know what true love is?" I asked her. She stared at me in a daze. "True love is not possession, not conquest, not destroying something because you can't have it," I said. "True love is understanding, is tolerance, is unconditional giving." "Then why can't you understand me?" "Tolerate me?" she asked through tears. "Because you never had me in your heart." I shook my head. "You're just used to my kindness, used to the feeling of being pursued. Now that it's gone, you feel reluctant." "But this isn't love, it's possessiveness." She was left speechless by what I said. "Olivia, forget me," I said at last. "Go find someone who truly loves you, and learn to truly love someone in return." After saying that, I turned and walked away. Her sobs came from behind me, but I didn't turn back. Some paths, once taken wrong, can never be returned to. Back in the library, Sophia saw my expression and knew what had happened. "She wants to get back together with you?" she asked cautiously. I nodded, then took her hand. But I refused. Joy flickered in her eyes. Then she said with concern, "You won't regret it, will you?" "Never," I said seriously, "because I've already found the best." She blushed, then hugged me tightly. "Me too." From that day on, Olivia never came to find me again. I heard she transferred to another major and rarely appeared in front of us. I think this is fine. At least she finally understood what it means to give up hope. Time passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye it was senior year. Sophia and I were growing closer and closer. We had already begun discussing marriage. Although I hadn't officially proposed yet, we both knew we were meant to spend our lives together. Just then, Noah suddenly came looking for me. That night, he appeared drunk onto my dormitory building. "Ethan, come out for a moment," he shouted loudly. I went downstairs to see him and found that he was very drunk. "What's wrong with you?" I asked. "I regret it." He grabbed my shoulders. "Ethan, I really regret it." "Regret what?" "Regretting stealing your woman." Tears welled in his eyes. "Olivia, she never loved me. What was always in her heart was you." I frowned. "What did you say?" "After she got together with me, she always praised you, always compared me to you," he said painfully. "She said you're gentler than me, more considerate than me, kinder than me. She said she had rejected you back then because she was afraid she wasn't good enough for you." I listened a little stunned. This was completely different from what I had imagined. "She said she's been waiting for you to change your mind, waiting for you to pursue her again." Noah continued, "But you really have changed. You really don't love her anymore." She couldn't accept that fact, so she broke up with me. I fell silent. So that's how things were. "Ethan, I'm sorry." Noah cried. I shouldn't have taken advantage of the situation. I shouldn't have stolen your woman. I steadied him. It's all in the past. But I'm in so much pain right now, he said. I love her, but she doesn't love me. Just like you used to. I looked at him and suddenly understood what they mean by karma. When I was suffering in my past life, how did he comfort me? It seemed he said, it's her loss for not treasuring you. Now it's his turn to feel this kind of pain. Noah, I want to ask you something, I said. What? If you could turn back time, would you still choose to be with Olivia? He thought for a moment, then shook his head. No. Why? Because what you can't have always stirs unrest, and the favor become brazen. He gave a bitter laugh. Only after I had her did I realize she always had someone else in her heart. That feeling is really painful. I patted his shoulder. Then let it go. Let it go. He looked at me. How do you let it go? By finding something better. I thought of Sophia, warmth swelling in my chest. I found someone who truly loves me. And I found someone I truly love. Noah looked at me enviously. That's wonderful. When will I be like you? There will be such a day, I said, but on the condition that you truly let go of Olivia. He nodded, then staggered away. Watching his back, I suddenly felt that fate was truly strange. In my previous life, our positions were reversed. Now we have switched roles again. But in any case, I'm grateful for all that happened. Because it made me understand what true love is, and it led me to the person who truly belongs to me. In the second semester of my senior year, I proposed to Sophia. The place was the little restaurant where we had our first date. No flowers, no diamond ring, only a simple silver band. Sophia, will you marry me? I knelt on one knee, looking at her surprised eyes. She covered her mouth, tears welling in her eyes. Didn't you prepare some romantic setting? She said, laughing through her tears. I think this place is romantic enough, I said seriously. This is where we began, and it should be where we promise forever. She nodded vigorously. I do. I slipped the ring onto her finger, then held her tightly. The other diners in the restaurant applauded. We shared a deep kiss amid the clapping. In that moment, I felt like the happiest person in the world. On graduation day, we wore our caps and gowns and took many photos. Olivia also came to the ceremony. She watched us from a distance, her eyes filled with complicated emotions. When our eyes met, she nodded to me, then turned and walked away. I knew she had finally truly let go. After graduation, Sophia and I returned to my hometown, Creekvale. I used my savings to start a Johnson educational charity that specifically helps underprivileged students. Sophia works as a teacher at the local high school. Our life is simple, but very happy. Every morning we get up together, have breakfast together, then go to work separately. In the evenings we come home, cook together, watch TV together, and talk together. On weekends we either go to teach in the Chingsong Mountains or visit the children who need help. This life was peaceful and fulfilling, not earth-shattering or spectacular, but warm in a steady, enduring way. On our wedding day, we didn't hold a grand ceremony. We only invited both sets of parents and a few closest friends. The ceremony was simple, but our vows were sincere. I vow that whether in poverty or wealth, in sickness or in health, I will love you, protect you, and cherish you, I said, holding Sophia's hand. I also swear, no matter when or where, I will stay by your side, support you, understand you, and face life's storms and trials with you. Sophia replied with tears in her eyes. When we exchanged rings, I remembered the wedding from my previous life. Back then, I had said the same vows, but they were just a performance spoken for others to hear. Now, every word I speak comes from the bottom of my heart. That's the difference. Sincerity and pretense can be told at a glance. On our wedding night, we lay in bed chatting. Ethan, have you ever wondered what we would have been like if Olivia hadn't turned you down back then? Sophia asked, lying on my chest. I thought for a moment. Then we wouldn't be together. Will you regret it? No. I stroked her hair. Because if that were the case, I wouldn't be who I am now. What do you mean? You made me become a better person. I said earnestly. Without you, I would never have understood what true love is, and I would never know what true happiness is. She laughed in my arms. Smooth talker. This is the truth. I lightly kissed her forehead. Thank you for choosing me. Thank you for seeing me, she replied. We fell asleep in each other's arms, our hearts filled with longing for the future. The following year, Sophia became pregnant. When we heard the news, we were so happy we didn't know what to say. We're going to be parents. Sophia touched her not yet showing belly, her face full of happiness. Our child will definitely be beautiful. I also touched her belly. Kind and wonderful like you. What if it's a boy? Then he'll be as handsome and smart as me. I joked. She laughed and gave me a playful punch. Shameless. During the pregnancy, I took even greater care of her. Every morning I make her a nutritious breakfast, give her a massage at night, accompany her to prenatal checkups, and walk with her. Watching her belly grow day by day, the sense of happiness in my heart increased day by day. This feeling is something I had never experienced in my previous life. Back then my heart and eyes were full of Olivia. I never once thought about having children. Only now do I understand that when you truly love someone, you want to build a complete family with her. The day the child was born, I waited anxiously outside the delivery room. When I heard the baby's cry, I couldn't hold back my tears. A nurse came out and told me, "Congratulations, it's a boy. Mother and child are safe." I rushed into the delivery room and saw Sophia's weak but satisfied smile, and my heart swelled with emotion. Well done. I held her hand. Thank you for giving me such an adorable baby. No trouble. She looked at the child in her arms. For you both, it's all worth it. We named the baby Ethan Jr. Taylor, hoping he would be as kind and innocent as Sophia. After we had a child, our lives became busier but also more fulfilling. Watching the little one grow bit by bit every day, learning to smile, to talk, to walk, that feeling of happiness is indescribable. Sophia is a very good mother, patient and gentle. She responds promptly to every need of the child. I also try hard to be a good father. After work, I play with our child, tell him stories, and teach him to read. Our little family is harmonious and happy, filled with love and laughter. Sometimes I wonder if I hadn't died in my previous life, if I had really ended up with Olivia, what would it have been like? It probably wouldn't have been this kind of happiness, because a marriage without love is destined not to last. And a marriage filled with love, even if ordinary, can make one feel fulfilled. This is the greatest gain of my rebirth. It wasn't vengeance, nor some great acquisition, but learning how to love. Learning to love someone truly worth loving, and learning to be loved by someone who truly loves me. When our son was 3, we decided to have another child. Sophia said, "Little Ethan is too lonely by himself. Having a sibling would be better." Of course I agreed. The little family I built with her gave me so much happiness, and I hoped that happiness could continue. The second child was a daughter. We named her Sophia Jr. Taylor. With 2 children, the house became livelier. The older brother doted on his sister and always shared his toys with her. Sophia watched the siblings playing together and always wore a contented smile. "This is the life I want," she said, leaning on my shoulder. Ordinary but happy. Me too. I held her, happier than I imagined. Time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, the children were all in elementary school. My Johnson Education charity grew bigger and bigger, helping many children from poor families. Sophia became a key teacher at the school and was much loved by the students. Our life was stable and fulfilling. Though not wealthy, it was happy enough. In the midst of this peaceful life, an accident happened again. That day I went to Lancer City for a meeting and met Olivia in the hotel lobby. 10 years had passed. She had changed a lot. Wearing a designer suit and tasteful makeup, she looked very successful, but there was an undeniable exhaustion in her eyes. She saw me too, froze for a few seconds, then walked over. "Ethan, is it really you?" She could hardly believe it. "It's me." I nodded. "Hello, Olivia." We sat down in the hotel's cafe to talk. She told me that after graduation, she went to the big city to make her way, and now she's an executive at a company, very successful in her career. And the relationship? I asked politely. Her eyes dimmed. I was married, but we divorced. And children? No children. She shook her head. I've always focused on my career and felt children would hold me back. I nodded, saying nothing. She suddenly asked me, "How about you? Are you still with Sophia?" "We've been married 10 years, I said. "We have 2 children." A complex emotion flickered in her eyes. "Are you happy?" "I'm very happy," I answered without hesitation. She was silent for a moment, then said, "Ethan, can I ask you a question?" "What?" "If I hadn't turned you down back then, would we have been happy?" I looked at her, thought for a moment, and said, "No." She froze. "Why?" "Because you never truly loved me," I said calmly. "A marriage without love cannot be happy. But now I know you're better, and I'm regretting it now." Her voice trembled a little. I shook my head. "Olivia, some things once missed are missed, and your regret now is only because you see I'm doing well and think you missed something back then. That's not love, that's regret." She was left speechless by what I said. "True love doesn't require regret because it happens naturally," I continued. "Just like my feelings for Sophia. From the moment I met her, I knew she was the one." "But you used to love me so much." "That wasn't love, it was obsession." I cut her off. "I was fixated on having you, but I never truly understood you. Now I realize that understanding someone is more important than possessing them." Tears welled in Olivia's eyes. "So, does that mean we really don't have a chance?" "Olivia, forget me," I said seriously. "Go find someone who truly suits you. Go live a life that's yours. Don't keep living in the shadow of the past." She cried, but I didn't soften. Some things must be made clear. Some boundaries must be drawn. I already have my own happiness. I can't ruin it all because of a momentary pity. After saying goodbye to Olivia, I immediately called Sophia. "Wife, I miss you," I said. She laughed on the other end of the line. "You miss me after being out for just one day?" I miss you very much." I looked out at the night view. "I miss you, and I miss the children." "We miss you too." Little Ethan asked me when Daddy is coming home, and little Sophia said she'll wait for you to come back to tell her stories. Hearing her gentle voice, an endless warmth surged through my heart. "I'll go back tomorrow," I said. "Our family will be together forever." "Okay," she said. "I'll wait for you to come back." After hanging up, I suddenly understood something. True happiness is not about what you have gained, but about knowing what is worth cherishing. The night I returned home, I told Sophia about Olivia. She was silent for a moment after listening, then said, "Would you be tempted?" "No," I answered without hesitation, "because I know what true love is." She leaned on my shoulder. "I believe you, but I also understand her feelings. After all, you're so outstanding. In my eyes, you are the most outstanding." I held her tight. "You gave me a complete family, gave me real happiness. Olivia could never do those things." Sophia laughed in my arms. "We are truly very happy." "Yes, happier than in my previous life. Happier than I ever imagined." The next morning, little Ethan and little Sophia ran to the side of our bed, clamoring for me to play with them. Looking at the children's innocent, smiling faces, an immense sense of contentment welled up inside me. This is the life I wanted, simple and beautiful. A few months later, I heard that Olivia had left Land City to go farther away to pursue her career. I think that was better for her. Sometimes distance is the best cure. After that, I never thought about my past life again, because I already have everything better than in my previous life. Time flies, and in the blink of an eye, we have been married for 20 years. Little Ethan was admitted to the normal university, choosing the same major as his mother. Little Sophia, on the other hand, is very gifted in the arts and is preparing for the art entrance exams. My Johnson Education charity has already helped thousands of impoverished students, and Sophia has also become an excellent teacher in Land City. Our life may not be wealthy, but it is happy enough. It was our wedding anniversary that day, and I was planning a surprise for Sophia. I took her back to the little restaurant where we had our first date. 20 years had passed. The restaurant was still there, and the owner was still the same owner, only with much whiter hair. Do you remember this place? I asked Sophia. She smiled and nodded. Of course I remember. This is where we began. It's also where I proposed. I took her hand. Now I want to say a few words to you here. She looked at me curiously. Thank you, Sophia. I said seriously, thank you for showing me what true love is. Thank you for giving me a complete family. Thank you for being with me through the most beautiful 20 years of my life. Tears welled in her eyes. Fool, I should be the one thanking you. You made me understand what it feels like to be truly loved. Then let's thank each other. I said with a smile. Thank fate for bringing us together. If there's a next life, I'll marry you again, she said earnestly. If there's a next life, I'll recognize you at first sight. I lightly kissed the back of her hand, and then choose you without hesitation. We embraced each other just like 20 years ago. In that moment, I suddenly remember my past life. If he could see me now, he would surely feel grateful for this choice. Sometimes, loss is for a better gain. Sometimes, missing something is meant to meet the right person. Sometimes, death is meant for a new beginning. I am very grateful for that rebirth. It gave me the chance to correct my mistakes and taught me what is truly worth cherishing. Olivia taught me what obsession is. Sophia taught me what true love is. Noah taught me what betrayal is, and Lucas taught me what friendship means. All experiences, good or bad, have made me a better version of myself. Now I no longer suffer over what I cannot have. I only feel grateful for what I do have. I no longer envy other people's lives. I only cherish my own happiness. No longer chasing grand, whirlwind love, only enjoying the gentle warmth of a long-lasting flow. This is the greatest gift rebirth gave me, teaching me to be content, to cherish, to love. On the way home, Sophia suddenly said, Do you know, I've always had a secret. What secret? I asked curiously. I actually noticed you back in our freshman year. She said a bit shyly. You used to sit alone in the corner of the library reading, looking lonely but very focused. I thought to myself, this boy must be very deep. I was stunned. Then why didn't you tell me earlier? Because later you started pursuing Olivia. She smiled wryly. I could only watch you quietly, hoping you'd come to your senses soon. So that's why you worked so hard to persuade me to give her up? She nodded. I want you to see that there are other people in the world who care about you. I stopped in my tracks and held her tightly. Sorry for keeping you waiting so long. Not long. She laughed in my arms. For you, it's worth waiting as long as it takes. That night, the four of us sat in the living room watching TV. Little Ethan is doing his homework, little Sophia is drawing, Sophia is knitting a sweater, and I am reading a book. Such an ordinary scene, yet it fills me with immense contentment. This is what happiness looks like, not needing grand gestures, only companionship and devotion. Before sleep, I wrote the final lines in my diary. If life is an exam, then my answer is, choose the right person, live the right life, do the right things. Olivia was once my obsession, but Sophia is my home. Thankful that rebirth gave me a second chance to choose. Thankful that fate let me meet the best of her. From now on, I will not look back, only forward. Because the best life is living the simplest days with the one you love most. Closing the diary, I looked at Sophia sleeping beside me, a boundless tenderness welling up in my heart. In my previous life I died because of a wrong choice. In this life I live within the right love. This is the meaning of my rebirth. Not to seek revenge, not to change something earth-shattering, but to learn to love, to learn to cherish, to learn to live a life that truly belongs to me. Afterward, someone asked me, if you were given another chance, would you choose to be reborn again? I don't think I would, because the life I have now is the best I can imagine. A loving wife, adorable children, a harmonious family, and a meaningful career. What more could one ask for in a life like this? The meaning of rebirth does not lie in changing the past, but in seizing the present. May everyone find their own Sophia and live a happiness that belongs to them. May everyone understand that the best love is not conquest, but companionship. May everyone understand that the greatest happiness is not in obtaining, but in cherishing. This is the story I wanted to tell you. A story about rebirth, about choices, about true love. Thank you for keeping me company. The story ends here. But life goes on, love continues, and happiness is still on its way. May you and I both be able to write our own beautiful endings. George, I've got good news and bad news. Which do you want to hear first? I put down my paintbrush and looked at my friend Frank. He stood at the studio door with a mysterious air, his face a mix of nervousness and excitement. Let's start with the bad news. After all, I've gotten used to it these past 3 years. Your painting, Eternity, just sold for a sky-high price. Over $6 million. I frowned. How is that bad news? Frank chuckled. Because it's actually part of the good news. The bad news is, buddy, you might need to see a psychiatrist. What do you mean? A woman who looks exactly like Mary showed up at your art exhibition. I almost thought I was seeing a ghost. The paintbrush slipped from my hand and fell to the floor, splattering paint across the unfinished canvas. Mary, my late wife, died 3 years ago after accidentally falling off a cliff. I watched with my own eyes as her body was pulled from the water. In that moment, my world completely collapsed. Stop joking around, Frank. Why would I lie to you? She even left this. Frank handed me a note, with an address and a time written on it. My hand trembled slightly. The handwriting was exactly the same as Mary's. That night, I waited until midnight at the designated cafe. Just as I was about to leave, a familiar figure appeared at the door. Mary? No, it couldn't be her. But every gesture of that woman, from the tips of her hair to her fingertips, was a shadow of Mary. George, it's been a long time. She sat across from me, and the familiar voice nearly made my heart stop. Who are you? I struggled to remain calm. I'm Mary, your wife. She smiled and reached out her hand. There was a scar on her palm, the mark Mary got when she accidentally cut herself on glass at 15. Impossible. Mary is already dead. She laughed softly. That was just an accident. I fell off the cliff and was saved by a reclusive old doctor. I lost my memory from the injuries and only recently remembered everything. As she spoke, tears began to fall with an expression I knew all too well, the look Mary wore whenever she felt wronged. I know it's hard to believe, but I really am Mary. I couldn't believe my eyes. The shade of lipstick Mary loved most, the faint little mole beneath her left ear, the unconscious habit of rubbing her ring while speaking. Everything was so familiar. Are you really Mary? She nodded and took a small box out of her bag. This is the proof. Inside the box was the first piece of jewelry Mary ever designed. A sapphire ring, the only one of its kind, never mass-produced. I brought it with me that day because I wanted to surprise you. I suddenly stood up and pulled her into my arms. 3 years of longing surged over me like a tide. I held her tightly, afraid that if I let go, she would disappear again. On the way home, she told me about her experiences over the past 3 years. She was rescued by an old doctor in the mountains, lost her memory due to a severe head injury, and lived in a remote mountain village for more than 2 years. It wasn't until she happened to see a poster for my art exhibition that her memory gradually returned. The next day, I took her to see Frank. Oh my God, it really is you, Mary. Frank stared in astonishment, eyes wide. Frank, it's been a long time. She greeted him with a smile, exactly as I remembered. Frank pulled me aside and whispered, Man, this is unbelievable, but I really believe it's her. Who else but Mary could call me by my childhood nickname so accurately? That was something only the two of you knew. A week later, Mary officially returned. We held a small welcome party for her. Her mother was so overwhelmed that she fainted, and when she woke up, she clung to her daughter and refused to let go. But that night, I noticed the first sign that something was off. Mary never ate mangoes because she was severely allergic. Yet the returned Mary absent-mindedly tasted a mango dessert and was perfectly fine. Aren't you allergic to mangoes? I asked. She paused for a moment, then quickly laughed and said, Oh, that old Chinese doctor cured my allergy. He's really amazing. I nodded, but in my heart, I marked the first question mark. Is this really my wife? A month passed quickly, and Mary blended perfectly into our lives. She knew the location of every item in the house, remembered our shared memories, and could even accurately name friends we hadn't contacted in years. But those subtle feelings of discord kept growing. For example, The real Mary liked to listen to classical music, especially Debussy, while designing jewelry. But she would always unconsciously hum along to pop songs. Mary always habitually used her left hand to hold chopsticks, even though she knew it was wrong. She just couldn't change. But she was a standard right-handed user. The most obvious difference appeared that night when I accidentally caught her smoking in the bedroom. The real Mary hated the smell of smoke. Even when I came home from social events with a faint scent of cigarettes, she would frown. "When did you start smoking?" I stood at the doorway, my voice soft. She was clearly startled, hastily snuffing out the cigarette. This is a herbal cigarette for treating insomnia, prescribed by an old Chinese doctor." I nodded, not pressing further, but the doubts in my heart only grew deeper. The next day, I went to find Frank. "Help me check if, in the past 3 years, plastic surgery technology has advanced enough to achieve this level." Frank's eyes widened. "You mean, she's not Mary?" "I'm not sure, but there are always some things that don't add up." 2 days later, Frank brought news. High-end plastic surgery can make faces look similar, but it can't replicate the exact placement of scars or moles. And there's a limit to how well someone can imitate a voice. What if it was a twin? Frank shook his head. "Mary is an only child. We all know that." I decided not to show my feelings for now and to keep observing. A week later, Mary's mother came to my house with astonishing news. "George, Mary is going to have a baby," my mother-in-law told me excitedly. I stood there stunned. Before we got married, Mary had been diagnosed with uterine hypoplasia. The doctor had made it clear she could never get pregnant. This was our shared secret. Not even my mother-in-law knew. How do you know that?" I managed to ask. "Mary told me this morning. She said she already had a checkup. It's been 2 months." My mother-in-law happily grabbed my hand. "It's a blessing from above. Mary survived death, and now she can bring us new life." My heart sank to the bottom. This absolutely could not be Mary. That night, I dug out the hospital's diagnosis certificate in my study, which clearly stated the condition of Mary's uterus. But when I wanted to talk to Mary about it, I found her in the bedroom, excitedly discussing the decoration of the nursery with my mother-in-law. "Mary, could you come here for a moment?" I called her calmly. She followed me into the study, still wearing a blissful smile on her face. "Did you forget about this?" I handed her the diagnosis certificate. She took it and glanced at it, her face instantly turning pale. "George, I can explain." "Explain what?" "Explain that you're not Mary at all." Mother-in-law heard the commotion and walked in. "What's going on with you two?" "Mom, take a look at this." I handed her the proof. My mother-in-law read it, then looked at Mary in astonishment. "What's going on?" "Mary, you can't have children." "Of course she can," I sneered, "because she's not Mary at all." My mother-in-law's face changed dramatically. "What nonsense are you talking about?" "I can explain." She hurriedly grabbed my mother-in-law's hand. "That old Chinese doctor not only saved my life, but also cured my uterine problem. It's a miracle, truly." My mother-in-law looked at me, then at her, hesitating. "George, you're being too paranoid." My mother-in-law finally took her daughter's side. "Mary has come back with great difficulty. You should cherish her, not doubt her." "Yes, George, I know this is hard to accept, but miracles do happen." Tears welled up in her eyes. "Haven't we always wanted a child? Now we can finally have our own baby." I looked at her face, identical to Mary's, yet I became more certain in my heart. This woman was not my wife. "All right, I believe you." I smiled, deciding to go along with their story for now. Let's wait together for this miracle to happen. That night, I secretly contacted a private detective. My mother-in-law gladly accepted her daughter's explanation, even suggesting she move in with us to take care of Mary during her pregnancy. Outwardly, I agreed, but inside I grew even more wary. This was no coincidence. There had to be some kind of plot. "Mom, haven't you always lived in Haicheng? Won't it be hard to get used to living here?" I probed cautiously. "For my grandson, I'm willing to endure any inconvenience," my mother-in-law said firmly. I noticed a fleeting unnatural expression on Mary's face. Could the truth be connected to my mother-in-law? On the 3rd day after my mother-in-law moved in, I discovered more suspicious details. For example, the real Mary never drank coffee, but she and my mother-in-law often enjoyed it together. Also, Mary's favorite movie was Roman Holiday, but she claimed to prefer Titanic. The strangest thing is, Mary used to despise her cousin Tom when she was alive, but now he visits frequently and chats and laughs with Mary as if they're old friends. I told Frank about these discoveries. Buddy, things are getting more and more suspicious, Frank frowned. Are you sure you want to keep going like this? Why not just expose her directly? It's not the right time yet. I want to find out what they're really after. The private detective's investigation also made progress. The so-called old Chinese doctor who had saved Mary did not exist at all, and Mary's whereabouts over the past 3 years were completely untraceable. More importantly, the private detective uncovered a shocking fact during the investigation. Mary's cousin Tom was deeply in debt from gambling, and the painting Eternity under my name, worth over $6 million, was his only hope for quick cash. They're after your painting, the private detective asserted, and this fake Mary is likely a professional identity fraudster, hired to win your trust. I took a deep breath and decided to take the initiative. That afternoon, I pretended to go out, but secretly returned home and hid in the study. Sure enough, Mary and her cousin Tom were whispering to each other in the living room. It's taking too long, Tom said irritably. How much longer until he sells the painting? Don't worry, she soothed him. I'm already pregnant, and now he completely believes I'm Mary. In a little while, I'll say I want to move to a better neighborhood for the sake of the baby, and then we'll naturally need to sell the painting to raise money. You're really pregnant? That wasn't part of the plan. It was an accident, but it works to our advantage. George wants a child so badly. Does Annie know the truth? She only knows we're trying to scam money, not the specific plan. But she hates George, thinks he caused her daughter's death, so she's more than happy to help. I clenched my fists. So my mother-in-law had always believed that Mary's accident was somehow my fault. In fact, we did argue over something trivial that day, and Mary stormed out in anger. I didn't try to stop her. But I never imagined it would be the last time I'd see her. You don't actually have feelings for George, do you? Tom suddenly asked. She was silent for a moment. It's just part of the job. Besides, I owe you, and I won't go back on my word. Good then. Don't forget how we're splitting the money once we get it. Their conversation confirmed my suspicions. This was all an elaborate scheme, with my eternity as the target. In the days that followed, I pretended everything was normal while secretly making preparations. I contacted the police, arranged for evidence-gathering equipment, and found the last piece Mary had left before she died, a silver necklace that had never been made public, engraved with an anniversary date only the two of us knew. 2 weeks later, my art exhibition was held as scheduled. As planned, Mary brought up the idea of moving, hinting that I could sell Eternity. I pretended to agree and said I would auction the painting on the last day of the exhibition. This is a surprise I prepared for you, I said on the eve of the exhibition, taking out a delicate box. To celebrate the new life we're about to begin. She opened the box in surprise, and inside was the silver necklace. It's beautiful, thank you. She smiled as she prepared to put it on. Wait, I stopped her. Aren't you going to look at the engraving on the back? She turned the necklace over, and her face suddenly went pale. What's wrong? Don't you like it? I asked, feigning ignorance. No, I really like it. It's just, I'm a bit moved. She forced a smile, but didn't know how to explain that she couldn't recognize the significance of that date. See you tomorrow. Get some good rest, and don't forget to wear this necklace. I kissed her forehead and whispered in her ear, after all, this is your final design. Her body visibly stiffened for a moment, but she kept smiling. Of course, I cherish it very much. Tomorrow, the truth will come to light. On the day of the exhibition, the place was packed with people. My painting, Eternity, was displayed in the most prominent spot, right next to the last batch of jewelry designs Mary had created before her death. Mary held my arm, flawlessly playing the role of my wife as always. She had even gone out of her way to wear Mary's favorite white dress and the silver necklace I had given her last night. My mother-in-law and Tom were there too. The three of them exchanged glances from time to time, clearly waiting for the perfect moment. Frank appeared as planned, pretending to be extremely interested in Eternity and asking me about the auction details. The auction will begin promptly at 4 in the afternoon, I replied with a smile. This painting means a great deal to me, and I hope it finds someone who truly appreciates it. Mary immediately chimed in. Yes, although it's hard to part with it, this is a necessary decision for our future. I noticed she glanced at Tom, who gave a barely perceptible nod. At 3:30 in the afternoon, the projector in the center of the exhibition hall lit up. This was the special segment I had arranged. Ladies and gentlemen, I stood in front of Eternity, Before the auction begins, I'd like to share a little story about this painting. Mary's photo appeared on the projection screen, a group picture from her last birthday party before she passed away. 3 years ago, my wife Mary died in an accident. I created this painting, Eternity, in her memory. The woman in the painting has her back to the viewer, forever gazing into the distance, symbolizing a longing I can never reach. A soft sigh rippled through the crowd. Mary stood beside me, matching my words with a sorrowful expression. However, a month ago, a miracle happened. I turned to look at Mary. My wife came back. The whole room erupted in astonishment, and many people curiously sized up, Mary. This is my wife, Mary. I took her hand and stepped forward. Back from the dead, it's truly the greatest blessing heaven could have given me. She smiled and nodded to everyone, while my mother-in-law and Tom stood by with smug expressions. However, my tone suddenly shifted. Amidst my joy, a question arose. Is she really Mary? The entire room fell silent. Mary's hand trembled slightly in my palm. So, I did some investigating. The projector switched to a set of comparison photos. On the left was the real Mary. On the right was a photo of her. They look exactly the same, don't they? But I clicked the remote, and the photo was enlarged, the details highlighted. The position of the piercing on the left ear was slightly different, the arch of the eyebrows subtly varied, and the fine lines at the corners of the eyes ran in different directions. These are details that even professional plastic surgery cannot fully replicate. Mary tried to pull her hand away, but I held on tightly. My mother-in-law and Tom also began to grow anxious, glancing toward the exit. More importantly, the real Mary has a feature that cannot be copied. I turned to Mary. The necklace I gave you last night has a date engraved on the back. Can you tell everyone what that date is? She opened her mouth, but no words came out. That was the due date of our first child, the one we lost. I spoke softly, my voice trembling with emotion. Mary designed this necklace to commemorate the baby we never got to meet. The date was our secret, only Mary and I knew. The room fell utterly silent. Mary turned deathly pale, my mother-in-law's eyes widened, and Tom had already started edging toward the door. What surprised me even more, I continued, was that the real Mary could never get pregnant due to an underdeveloped uterus. Yet this, Mary claims she's already 2 months along. I let go of her hand and took a step back. So, who are you really? A flicker of despair flashed in Mary's eyes, but she quickly regained her composure. I am Mary, it's just that old Chinese doctor. The non-existent old Chinese doctor, right? I sneered. Just like the non-existent amnesia, the non-existent miraculous recovery. I turned toward the projection screen. Let's see the truth. The screen played the secretly recorded video of her conversation with Tom, their discussion on how to swindle eternity, clearly audible. This isn't. She tried to explain, but my mother-in-law had already rushed forward. Who are you really? My mother-in-law screamed. You're not my daughter? Auntie, stop pretending, I said calmly. You know she's not Mary. You just wanted to get back at me, didn't you? My mother-in-law's face turned pale. I didn't know she was going to impersonate Mary. Tom just said he needed help to scam some money. Police. Don't move. Several plainclothes officers emerged from the crowd, blocking Tom as he tried to escape. Amid the chaos, Mary took the opportunity to shove me aside and run toward the exit. I chased after her and caught up in the parking lot. Tell me, who are you really? She finally stopped, turned to face me, tears welling in her eyes. My name is Luna. I'm an actress. Tom found me and said if I helped trick you out of a painting, he'd give me $1 million. I needed the money for my sister's medical treatment. Why did they choose me? Why Mary? She shook her head. I don't know. They gave me a lot of information, photos, videos, even your chat logs. I was just following the script. The police arrived and took her away. I stood where I was, gazing at the distant sky, my heart a tumult of emotions. Back in the exhibition hall, the crowd had already dispersed, leaving only Frank and a few police officers. It's all been cleared up, Frank walked over. Tom owed money to loan sharks and was desperate. Your mother-in-law always resented you for not saving Mary, so she helped them plan the whole thing. I walked up to Eternity, gently caressing the back of the woman in the painting. Mary, I can finally give you an answer. The police left with the evidence. Frank patted me on the shoulder. What do you plan to do next? I took a deep breath. Prepare for the final painting. What will it be called? The Pursuit, I said softly. This time, I'll paint her face, not just her back. After the case was solved, my life seemed to return to where it was 3 years ago. Eternity was temporarily held by the court as crucial evidence. Tom and Luna were arrested for fraud, and my mother-in-law was investigated as an accomplice. The prosecution wants you to testify in court, the officer called to inform me. The trial is scheduled for early next month. I agreed, though I was utterly exhausted inside. After exposing the deception, I thought I would feel the thrill of revenge, but what I felt instead was a profound emptiness. Those days spent with Mary that month had allowed me to feel a trace of warmth in life again, even if that warmth was born of lies. Frank often came to see me, worried I might fall into despair once more. I told him not to worry, that I was working on a new piece, The Pursuit. Are you really going to paint Mary's face from the front? Frank asked curiously. For the past 3 years, you've always refused to do that. It's time, I replied. We can't live in the past forever. I moved out of the apartment I had shared with Mary and returned to the old house in the suburbs, the place where the real Mary and I had first made our home. The dust-laden memories in the house brought me both pain and comfort. Mary's studio remained just as she had left it, design sketches scattered across the table, unfinished jewelry drafts pinned to the drawing board. One afternoon, while sorting through Mary's belongings, I discovered an encrypted external hard drive. After several attempts, I finally unlocked it using our wedding anniversary as the password. Inside were backups of Mary's design works, along with some personal photos and videos. One folder in particular caught my attention. Inside a folder named Plan was a series of jewelry design sketches, labeled George's Birthday Special Project. It was then I remembered that, in the months before Mary passed away, she often spoke mysteriously about giving me an unparalleled birthday surprise. Leafing through these design drafts, I couldn't help but be moved to tears. Mary had planned to design a jewelry collection inspired by my paintings over the years, with each piece corresponding to a representative work from my artistic career. The last page was a sketch of a ring, with a dark red stone set in the center, its edges adorned with tiny diamonds, closely resembling the sunrise in my early work, Dawn. This is blood amber? I examined the notes carefully, confirming the name of this rare gemstone. Mary's designs had always been bold, but blood amber is extremely rare in the Chinese market, almost impossible to acquire. How did she obtain such a material? As I continued searching, I found a series of email correspondence screenshots. Mary had actually contacted a gemstone dealer in Myanmar, commissioning the blood amber specifically for this ring. The last email showed that the gem had already been shipped, but the date was exactly 1 week before Mary's death. I immediately called Frank. Help me check if there was a package sent from Myanmar 3 years ago, addressed to Mary. 2 days later, Frank brought news. The package did exist, but since no one signed for it, it was returned. However, according to the shipping records, it was resent a month ago, this time addressed to you. What? I was completely confused. I haven't received any package. Check your old apartment? Frank suggested. Back at my old apartment, the manager told me there was indeed a package, but it had been signed for by Mary. She said it was a surprise for you, so she didn't notify you, the manager explained. This meant Luna had taken the blood amber. I rushed to the detention center and requested to see Luna. Separated by glass, she looked much more haggard than the last time we met, but still wore that face so similar to Mary's. What are you doing here? She asked coldly. A month ago, you signed for a package from Myanmar. There was a blood amber inside. I want to know where it is. She looked surprised. How did you know? Tom asked me to sign for it. He said it was some precious gem. He took it. My heart sank. Tom was deep in gambling debt. A precious blood amber would be a windfall for him. He had probably sold it long ago. That blood amber is very important to me, I said softly. It was the last gift my wife left me. Luna was silent for a moment, then suddenly said, maybe it's not that bad. Tom said the stone has flaws, its value is greatly reduced, and he hasn't found a suitable buyer yet. Hope was rekindled. If Tom hadn't sold the blood amber yet, maybe there was still a chance to get it back. Do you know where he might hide it? Luna hesitated for a moment. He has a safe deposit box in a self-storage facility on the east side of the city. After getting the address, I immediately contacted the officer in charge of the case and explained the situation. Since Tom was involved in a large sum of money, The police quickly approved the search request. "Mr. George, we've found the safe deposit box," the officer said over the phone. "Inside, we did find the blood amber you described, as well as some other evidence." A few hours later, I retrieved the blood amber at the police station. It was even more beautiful than I had imagined. Within the dark red core, wisps of mist seemed to swirl, shifting strangely under the light. This was the birthday gift Mary had so carefully chosen for me, waiting for 3 years. Back home, I carefully placed the blood amber beside the canvas of the pursuit. The painting was already more than half finished, Mary's face emerging from the blur into clarity, yet it still felt like something was missing. Watching the blood amber glimmer faintly under the light, I suddenly understood how I should complete the painting. The creation of the pursuit entered its final stage. I decided to break convention and incorporate the blood amber into the artwork. This would not only be a portrait, but a hybrid piece that fused painting with the art of jewelry. "Are you sure you want to do this?" Frank frowned. "That blood amber is priceless." "That's exactly why," I said firmly. "Mary chose it for me. She wanted to inspire an unparalleled masterpiece. I will fulfill her wish." For 2 whole weeks, I worked day and night, neglecting sleep and food. I cut the blood amber into thin slices and inlaid them at the spot of Mary's eyes on the canvas, making her gaze truly come alive. I used a special technique to blend the surrounding paint, creating a harmonious transition with the gemstone. From certain angles, the entire painting seemed to be imbued with life, and Mary's expression would shift depending on where the viewer stood. On the day I finished the piece, Frank brought news. Luna had been sentenced to 3 years in prison, but due to her good attitude in confessing, she might serve only a year and a half. Tom, involved in multiple fraud cases, was sentenced to 7 years. My mother-in-law, as an accomplice, received a suspended sentence. "The case is finally over," Frank said. "Are you planning to exhibit your painting?" "Yes. Next month there will be a solo exhibition at the National Art Museum, and The Pursuit will be the grand finale." The curator couldn't stop praising this piece, believing it represents the innovative direction of contemporary art and marks the pinnacle of my career. Indeed, this painting, which incorporates Mary's jewelry design concepts, is in some sense a creation we made together. On the eve of the exhibition, I checked the arrangement in the gallery alone one last time, making sure every piece was perfectly lit and positioned. When I reached The Pursuit, I couldn't help but stop and gaze at it. Mary's face was vividly lifelike, her eyes inlaid with blood amber gleaming under the spotlight, as if she were smiling at me. For the first time in 3 years, I faced her directly, no longer painting only her back. "Mr. George," a stranger's voice called from behind. "Sorry to disturb you, but the gallery has been cleared." He turned around to see a young woman dressed in the museum's staff uniform. "And you are?" "I'm the new curator, responsible for security in your exhibition area," she explained with a smile. "I really like your work, especially this piece, The Pursuit." "Thank you." I nodded. "I'll be leaving soon." She didn't leave, but continued to gaze at the painting. "That red gem is beautiful, almost as if it's alive." "It's blood amber," I explained, "a very rare gemstone." "I know," she said softly, "top-grade blood amber from Myanmar, containing plant fossils, extremely rare." I looked at her in surprise. "You know a lot about jewelry?" She smiled. "I studied jewelry design. I'm just working part-time here." For some reason, Mary suddenly came to mind. She, too, had an almost obsessive passion for and expertise in gemstones. "If you don't mind me asking, who is the woman in this painting?" she asked. "My wife," I replied. "She passed away 3 years ago. She was a jewelry designer." "I'm very sorry," she said sincerely, then gestured toward the blood amber. "This gem must mean a great deal to you. It was the last birthday gift she chose for me before she died, but I only found it recently." She nodded thoughtfully. "Setting it into her portrait is the best way to remember her." For some reason, talking with this unfamiliar woman brought me a strange sense of calm. Perhaps it was her love for jewelry that reminded me of Mary. "Sorry, I have to continue my rounds." She glanced at her watch. "See you tomorrow, Mr. George." "See you tomorrow," I replied, watching her leave. On the way home, I felt an unusual peace. The completion of The Pursuit seemed to mark the end of my search for Mary as well, not forgetting, but remembering her forever in another way. The next day, the exhibition's opening ceremony attracted numerous figures from the art world and the media. The Pursuit undoubtedly became the center of attention, with people marveling at this innovative form of artistic expression. Amid the crowd, I noticed that curator standing aside, watching as well. Sunlight streamed through the skylight of the gallery, falling upon her, and for a fleeting moment, I thought I saw Mary's shadow. No, I shook my head, warning myself not to be deceived by mere resemblance. There would never be another Mary in this world, just as there would never be another unique blood amber. After the exhibition, the pursuit was purchased by an anonymous collector for an astronomical price. I donated all the proceeds to a foundation supporting students in jewelry design, establishing a scholarship in Mary's name. Life slowly moved forward, and I began to accept new commissions and create new works. Occasionally, I would think of that curator with a unique insight into jewelry, wondering if she was still working at the art museum. Until one day, I received an email from HL. There were no words, only an image. A sketch of a ring design, the style strikingly similar to Mary's unfinished series. My heart raced as I replied immediately. Who is this? The response came quickly. Yesterday, you brushed past me by the cafe on the street corner, but you didn't recognize me. If you want to know more, wait for me at the museum entrance at noon tomorrow. Is it that librarian? How could she have a design so reminiscent of Mary's style? Filled with anxiety and anticipation, I decided to accept the invitation and find out for myself. The next day at noon, I arrived at the art museum half an hour early. The sun was shining, and small groups of visitors were coming and going from the exhibition hall, but there was no sign of the mysterious person. Just as I began to suspect this might be some kind of prank, a faint trace of perfume drifted by, a scent unfamiliar to me, yet it inexplicably reminded me of Mary. Mr. George, thank you for coming. The voice behind me made me turn around. It was the curator. Today, she wasn't wearing her uniform, but a simple white dress, completely different from Mary's style when she was alive. Did you send the email? I asked directly. She nodded. There are some things I want to tell you, but not here. Will you come with me? We walked through the small park beside the art museum and arrived at a secluded cafe. The whole time, I kept observing her. Her mannerisms, the way she walked, none of it resembled Mary. Yet her sensitivity to detail and her focused attention gave me a strange sense of familiarity. Who are you, really? The moment we sat down, I couldn't wait to ask. My name is Nicole. She looked me straight in the eye. I'm Mary's student. This answer caught me off guard. Mary had indeed taught jewelry design part-time at the Design Academy before she passed away, but she had never mentioned having any particularly close students. I took her advanced design class the year before she passed, Nicole explained. Her guidance benefited me for a lifetime. That still doesn't explain why your designs resemble her style so much, I said, half convinced. Nicole took a folder out of her bag. These are all notes from Ms. Nicole's class and her feedback on my work. You can look at the handwriting and confirm that it's really hers. I carefully examined the materials. It was indeed Mary's handwriting. There were even traces of the pale purple ink she habitually used. Before Ms. Nicole passed away, she was guiding me on my graduation project, Nicole continued. The theme was interwoven light and shadow, blending Eastern and Western aesthetic elements. She gave me a lot of valuable advice, and even showed me a sketch from a private project she was working on at the time. George's special birthday project? I blurted out. Nicole's eyes widened in surprise. You know about it? I only found out recently. I briefly explained the origin of the blood amber. I knew that blood amber would eventually find its way back to you, Nicole said with a smile. Nicole always said it was a destined gift. Is that why you contacted me? Because you saw the blood amber? Nicole was silent for a moment, as if choosing her words carefully. Not entirely. After Nicole passed away, I've been trying to carry on the design philosophy she taught me. Some time ago, I happened to see the news about your eternity being stolen, and then I saw someone impersonating Nicole. I thought I should tell you a few things. She took a letter out of her bag. This is the last letter Nicole gave me after class before she passed away. She said if her surprise plan went smoothly, I should show you this letter. If anything went wrong and she was gone, I should still make sure you see it. I took the envelope. It was indeed Mary's handwriting, and it read, "To my dearest husband." The envelope had already been opened. I didn't know what was in the letter at the time. I just kept it as Nicole instructed, Nicole explained. It wasn't until I saw the news that I opened it. I hope you won't blame me. I carefully took out the letter paper and unfolded it to read. Dear George, if you are reading this letter, perhaps my surprise plan has gone awry. Don't worry, it's just that the plan has changed, and the form of the gift may be different now. The blood amber I picked for you is said to be known as the Eye of Rebirth. Legend has it that looking at the world through it reveals truths that are often overlooked. I hope it can become a turning point in your artistic career, leading you to see new possibilities. All these years, your paintings have always depicted backs, as if you're afraid to face something head-on. I hope this gemstone will give you the courage to paint the front, to capture true emotions. No matter what happens, please remember, love does not disappear, it merely changes form, like this blood amber, which, after millions of years, transforms from resin into a gem, yet still shines. Forever loving you, Mary. The handwriting became a bit messy at the end, as if written in a hurry. I stroked the paper, as if I could feel Mary's emotions at that moment. Thank you, I said, my voice choked with emotion. This means a lot to me. You're welcome. I'm just fulfilling Ms. Nicole's request, Nicole said with a smile. Actually, there's one more thing I'd like to ask your help with. What is it? I'd like to apply for the Mary Scholarship you established, she said, taking a design portfolio out of her bag. This is my graduation project, combining Ms. Nicole's ideas with my own innovations. As I flipped through the portfolio, I was surprised to find that while these designs bore traces of Mary's influence, they also possessed a unique style and innovative touches. In particular, a series called Metamorphosis cleverly combined jewelry with transformable elements, allowing the pieces to change form according to the wearer's mood and occasion. This is outstanding, I praised sincerely. Mary would be proud of you. A hint of joy flashed in Nicole's eyes. Really? I've always worried I couldn't live up to her expectations. You've already moved beyond the learning stage and developed your own style. That's exactly what she hoped to see. As we talked, sunlight streamed through the window and fell on Nicole. In that moment, I seemed to understand something. When Mary spoke of love changing its form, perhaps she wasn't just referring to the blood amber, but also to her passion for art and its legacy. Luna tried to impersonate Mary by mimicking her appearance, but she could never truly replicate who she was. Nicole, on the other hand, looked nothing like Mary, yet she inherited a part of her artistic vision and spirit. Perhaps this is the true gift Mary left me, not the blood amber, but a new possibility, a path out of the past. Nicole's graduation exhibition was held in a small gallery. Though the space was modest, it was exquisitely arranged. Her works were divided into 3 series, representing the past, the present, and the future, forming a complete narrative. This is a brilliant idea, I sincerely praised. From tradition to contemporary and then to the future, it showcases the evolution and possibilities of jewelry design. Nicole smiled and nodded. This was inspired by teacher Nicole. She always says that good design should look back at history, be grounded in the present, and look forward to the future. As I walked through the exhibition hall, I noticed a special display case in the corner, containing only one piece, a seemingly simple ring with a small red gemstone set in the center. This is. I leaned in to read the label, which said, in memory, dedicated to teacher Mary. Yes, I made it from a small piece of blood amber I bought with my own savings, Nicole explained. It can't compare to the quality of yours, but it's also from Myanmar. I examined the design of the ring closely. Clean, powerful lines, with fine silver threads encircling the blood amber, as if protecting the central gem, yet also seeming to radiate light outward. This is very similar to Mary's final design style, I said softly, but it also has your own unique touch. I wanted to create a piece that could both commemorate teacher Nicole and showcase my own style, Nicole explained. The blood amber represents her influence, while the outer design is the direction of my own development. The exhibition attracted quite a few industry insiders, including some well-known figures from the jewelry design world. After viewing the exhibition, an older female designer approached Nicole and offered her an internship opportunity. I stood by, genuinely happy for Nicole. In the evening, as the exhibition was drawing to a close, Frank arrived as well. Seeing me with Nicole, he gave me a knowing smile. New friend? He asked me quietly. Mary's student, I explained simply. Very talented. Frank nodded without asking further questions. After touring the exhibition, he gave high praise to Nicole's work. It blends traditional and modern elements, demonstrating both technical skill and artistic expression, quite rare. Nicole thanked him politely. This wouldn't have been possible without the guidance of teacher Nicole and teacher George. After the exhibition, The three of us went to a nearby restaurant for dinner. During the meal, Frank talked about recent trends in the art market, while Nicole shared her insights on contemporary jewelry design. The conversation was light and pleasant, and I realized it had been a long time since I had relaxed and chatted with others like this. After a few rounds of drinks, Frank received an urgent call and left early. Only Nicole and I remained in the restaurant, and the atmosphere suddenly became a bit quiet. "Mr. George," Nicole hesitated for a moment before speaking. "I've always had a question I wanted to ask you." "What is it?" "After you finished The Pursuit, what are you planning to create next?" The question caught me off guard. To be honest, ever since The Pursuit, I haven't had any new inspiration. That painting seemed to have drained all my emotions and creativity. "I haven't decided yet," I answered honestly. "It might take some time to find a new direction." Nicole nodded thoughtfully. Nicole once said that the hardest thing for an artist isn't creating a stunning masterpiece, but finding a way forward after reaching the peak. She really did say that, I recalled with a smile. Mary always saw further than I did. "Maybe," Nicole said softly, "you could try a new direction that combines your work with jewelry design, like in The Pursuit, but taking it even further." I recalled what Mary mentioned in her letter about seeing new possibilities, and suddenly I was inspired. "You mean creating a series of works that combine painting and jewelry?" "Exactly," Nicole said excitedly. "Your paintings create emotion in two-dimensional space, while jewelry gives it tangible form in the three-dimensional world. The combination of the two would have an astonishing effect." The more we talked, the more engaged we became, even sketching a few concept designs on the restaurant's napkins. Nicole's ideas were fresh and bold, perfectly aligning with my artistic vision, yet bringing a new perspective. As we left the restaurant, Nicole suddenly said, "I have to confess something." I looked at her in confusion. "I reached out to you not only to deliver Nicole's letter, but also for a personal reason. I hope to learn from you," she said candidly. "I want to become a designer like Nicole, someone who not only creates beautiful works but also perfectly blends art with emotion." Her sincerity moved me. "You're already on that path, and you're doing very well." "Then, may I consult you often?" she asked a little nervously. Of course, I'd be delighted. On the way home, a series of new works already began to take shape in my mind. A cross-disciplinary art that fuses painting and jewelry, both as a tribute to Mary and as a new starting point in my artistic career. That night, I had a dream. In the dream, Mary stood in a halo of blood-red light, smiling at me and saying, "See, I knew you would find a new direction." When I woke up, I got out of bed immediately and began sketching for the new series. I decided to name it Rebirth. Not only representing the ancient life forever preserved in blood amber, but also symbolizing the rebirth of my artistic career, as well as the inheritance and development of Mary's artistic vision. A week later, I submitted a new series proposal to the gallery and received an enthusiastic response. The curator even suggested holding a special exhibition themed Between Dimensions, a dialogue between painting and jewelry. For this project, I invited Nicole to join the team as a jewelry design consultant. She had just graduated from design school and was both excited and nervous about the opportunity. "Am I really up to the task?" she asked me in the studio. "You understand Mary's design philosophy better than anyone," I assured her. "That's exactly what I need." In the days that followed, we worked at a feverish pace. We created during the day and discussed at night, sometimes even working through until dawn. Nicole's ideas flowed endlessly, and I transformed those thoughts into concrete artistic expressions. In the process, I rediscovered the pure joy of creation that I hadn't felt in a long time. One late night, when we finally finished the design for our first piece, Nicole clapped her hands excitedly. "This is amazing. Teacher Nicole will definitely love it." At the mention of Mary, she suddenly realized her slip and looked at me nervously. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." "It's all right," I said with a smile. "I think Mary really would like it. She always hoped I could step out of my comfort zone and try new ways of expressing myself." Nicole let out a sigh of relief, then hesitantly asked, "Professor George, may I ask you a personal question?" "What is it?" "When you faced the woman impersonating Professor Nicole, how did you see through her? I mean, from the news reports, she seemed like an exact copy of Professor Nicole." I pondered for a moment. Superficial resemblance is easy to achieve, But a true personality cannot be duplicated. Mary's perception of art, her attitude toward life, the way she handled details, these were all unique. Just like a work of art, Nicole mused, no matter how perfect a replica is, it can never capture the soul of the original. Exactly. We worked through the night again, and finally established the overall framework for the Rebirth series. 7 pieces, each blending elements of painting and jewelry, together telling a story of loss and recovery, death and rebirth. As our collaboration deepened, my relationship with Nicole gradually shifted from teacher and student to partners, both mentor and friend. Sometimes, when the light traced the gentle contours of her focused profile, I would unconsciously think of Mary. But soon, I realized that this association wasn't due to any physical resemblance, but rather that same dedication and passion for art. "George, you look much more spirited lately," Frank remarked at a gathering. "It's been a while since I've seen you so full of life." "Yeah, the new project has helped me rediscover the joy of creating." "Nicole's a good girl," Frank said meaningfully. "Talented, and she really understands you." I understood his implication, but just smiled without responding. There was indeed a special understanding between Nicole and me, but it was more rooted in our shared passion for art than anything else. At least for now. The creation of the Rebirth series took 3 months, longer than expected, but the results were stunning. Each piece was a perfect fusion of painting and jewelry art, offering both the pleasure of viewing as a flat image and the discovery of 3-dimensional effects brought by the jewelry elements from different angles. A week before the exhibition opened, I received an unexpected visitor, Luna. She had served her sentence and was released early. She looked much more haggard than the last time we met, but her eyes were clearer. "I came to apologize to you in person." She stood at the studio door, her voice low, "for everything I have done." I didn't respond immediately, but simply invited her in to sit down. "I know that an apology can't make up for the loss," she continued, "but I want you to know that I truly regret it." "How is your sister's illness?" I asked. She looked up in surprise. You know. I guessed. "You said you needed money for a reason, and I think that must have been true." "Yes," she nodded. "My sister's surgery was a success, and now she's fully recovered. For the past 3 years, I've been thinking about how to make up for my mistakes, even though I may never be able to." I was silent for a moment, then said, "You know, in a way, your appearance actually helped me." "What do you mean?" "It forced me to confront the past, to re-examine my memories with Mary, and ultimately to find a way forward." I pointed to the sketches of the Rebirth series on the wall and briefly explained this new project. Luna listened quietly, a look of genuine respect in her eyes. "I'm glad you were able to find a new beginning from that nightmare," she said at last. "I hope I can find my own path to rebirth as well." As she left, she handed me a small package. "These are some simple pieces of jewelry I made in prison. The craftsmanship is rough, but each one represents my remorse and blessings. I hope you can accept them." Opening the package, I found several small trinkets handmade from fine wire and colorful glass beads. Though simple, it was clear the creator had poured their heart into them. Nicole happened to come into the studio at that moment. Seeing the trinkets, she asked curiously, "What are these?" I told her about Luna's visit. "You forgave her?" Nicole was a bit surprised. "Not exactly forgiveness," I said thoughtfully. "It's more like understanding. Everyone has their own hardships and choices. What's important is how we learn and grow from our mistakes." Nicole nodded pensively, picking up a piece of jewelry to examine it closely. "The craftsmanship is rough, but the concept is ingenious. This person seems to have a talent for design." "Perhaps," I said. "Everyone has the possibility of being reborn." On the day of the exhibition opening, numerous figures from the art and jewelry worlds gathered together. The Rebirth series received unprecedented acclaim. Critics called it a model of cross-disciplinary art, and the gallery owner was overjoyed, announcing plans for a nationwide tour. In the crowd, I saw Luna. She was dressed simply, standing quietly in a corner, admiring the exhibits. Our eyes met in the air. She nodded slightly, then walked away. "Who was that?" Nicole asked, standing beside me. "Someone searching for rebirth," I replied. Nicole seemed to understand and asked no more. We stood side by side before the pursuit, watching the blood amber refract a strange light under the lamps, like the silent burning of life's flame. "Thank you," I whispered to Nicole. Without you, this series might never have come into being. It was your philosophy that guided us, Teacher Nicole, she replied modestly. I was just fortunate enough to be the messenger. In that moment, I suddenly understood the true meaning of what Mary had written in her letter. Love has changed its form. Love exists not only in memory and longing, but also in inheritance and innovation, shining brightly in every spark of artistic creation. And I, at last, had learned how to begin anew after loss, to embrace rebirth while still searching. The success of the exhibition exceeded everyone's expectations. In just 1 month, the Rebirth series was reported on by major media outlets and even attracted the attention of the international art world. A renowned auction house extended an olive branch to me, hoping to include several pieces in their annual highlight auction. This is an unprecedented opportunity, Frank said excitedly. If the deal goes through, you'll become a top player in the contemporary art market. I wasn't particularly concerned with commercial success, but I did feel the joy of having my work widely recognized. More importantly, this series opened up a new artistic path for me, freeing me from the creative shackles of the past 3 years. Nicole benefited as well. As the project's jewelry design consultant, she received high praise from the industry. Several well-known jewelry brands reached out to her, hoping she would join their design teams. Which offer are you planning to accept? One night, as we were tidying up the studio together, I asked her. To be honest, I'm still hesitating. Nicole paused her work. These are all great opportunities, but what? But I want to keep working with you. She looked straight into my eyes. Rebirth is just the beginning, isn't it? Her candor surprised me a little. Indeed, the success of this series had opened up many new creative possibilities for us, but I wasn't sure if I should continue such a close working relationship. You should consider your own career development, I said tactfully. These opportunities are very rare for young designers. Nicole seemed to sense my hesitation and nodded gently. I understand. In the days that followed, we were both busy and rarely had the chance to talk alone. A week later, Nicole told me she had decided to accept an invitation from a French jewelry brand and would be going to Paris to work for 2 years. Congratulations, I said sincerely. It's a very good choice. Thank you, she replied with a smile, though a fleeting, elusive emotion flashed in her eyes. I think this is the best arrangement for both of us. Before Nicole left, we held a small farewell party. Frank, the curator, and a few mutual friends came. The atmosphere was warm, tinged with a hint of sadness. After a few rounds of drinks, Frank found an opportunity to pull me aside. Are you really going to just let her go like this? What do you mean? I pretended not to understand. Don't play dumb, man, Frank said bluntly. You have feelings for her. That's obvious. That's just professional rapport, I argued. Is that so? Frank looked at me meaningfully. Then why have you been so distracted ever since she decided to go to France? I was at a loss for words. In fact, these past few days I had indeed felt an inexplicable sense of loss, but I kept telling myself it was only because I had lost an excellent partner. I know what you're worried about, Frank lowered his voice. You feel like you're letting Mary down, don't you? I remained silent. He had touched upon the deepest concern in my heart. Mary has been gone for 3 years now. Frank gently patted my shoulder. She would want you to be happy. After the party ended, I walked Nicole home. The night was tranquil as water, and the city lights flowed around us. Thank you for your help and guidance these past few months. Nicole stopped at the entrance of her apartment building. This experience has meant so much to me. I should be thanking you, I said sincerely. Without you, the Rebirth series would never have been completed. We fell into silence, as if both searching for the right words to say goodbye. My flight is the morning after tomorrow, Nicole finally said. I still have some things to take care of tomorrow, so this is probably the last time we'll see each other. 2 years will pass quickly. I tried to make my voice sound light. Paris is a beautiful city. You'll like it there. She nodded, a complex emotion flickering in her eyes. Professor George, there's something I've always wanted to tell you, but never found the right opportunity. What is it? I chose to study jewelry design because I saw Nicole's works. She took a deep breath, or more precisely, because I saw the pieces Nicole designed for you. The way she perfectly fused love and art moved me deeply. I didn't know that, I said in surprise. I've always hoped that one day I could be like Nicole, creating art filled with emotion. Nicole continued, her words coming faster, as if afraid she might lose her courage. But now I realize that what I want even more is to create for a specific person, just like Nicole created for you. I understood her implication, and my heart suddenly began to race. Nicole, please don't respond, she gently interrupted me. I just wanted you to know before I leave. No matter how you feel right now, remember that starting over is not a betrayal of the past, but a way of cherishing life. With that, she rose up on her tiptoes and softly kissed my cheek, then quickly turned and walked into the apartment building, leaving me standing alone in the night, my mind in turmoil. After returning home, I tossed and turned, unable to sleep, replaying Nicole's words and that gentle kiss over and over in my mind. Suddenly, I remembered a small box in the study, where Mary's last complete letter was kept, a letter I had found while sorting through her belongings. But at the time, overwhelmed by grief, I never had the courage to open. Now, I finally mustered the courage to walk into the study and retrieve that delicate little box from the depths of the drawer. Inside lay a pale pink letter, bearing Mary's familiar handwriting. Dearest George, by the time you read this letter, you may find yourself at a crossroads in life, hesitating between moving forward or staying where you are. My greatest wish is that you can move bravely through life, as freely as your brush glides across the canvas. Love is not a shackle, but a liberation. Memory is not a burden, but a source of strength. If one day you meet someone who can rekindle the light in your eyes, please don't hesitate because of your longing for me. True love is wishing happiness for the other, even if there is no longer a place for oneself in that happiness. Remember, the days we loved each other were complete, with no need for regrets. And now, it's time to paint a new picture, my beloved. Forever loving you. Mary. Tears blurred my vision. It was as if Mary had foreseen my current situation and had already given me her blessing. She was always like this, always able to see further and more clearly than I could. At that moment, I made up my mind. Early the next morning, I drove straight to Nicole's apartment. Professor George? Nicole opened the door in surprise, clearly not expecting me. I have something to say to you. I looked her straight in the eyes, not as your teacher, but as George. I handed her Mary's letter. Nicole read it carefully, her expression shifting from surprise to being moved, and finally, her eyes grew moist. She truly was an extraordinary woman, Nicole said softly, handing the letter back to me. Yes, she was. I nodded. That's exactly why I believe her words. Nicole, cancel your plans for Paris. Stay and continue our collaboration, will you? Nicole looked at me in shock. Are you serious? I've never been more serious, I said quietly. Rebirth is not just the name of an artwork, it's a possibility in life. Are you willing to explore that possibility with me? Her answer was a firm embrace, warm and real, like the first ray of sunlight after a long winter. In that moment, I felt as if Mary was somewhere, smiling down on us, blessing this new beginning. Life is like that blood amber, enduring countless ages of change and sedimentation, ultimately transforming into an eternal radiance. And I, at last, understood what true pursuit is, what true rebirth means. A year later, Nicole and I unveiled our second joint project, Interwoven, at the National Art Museum. This series was even bolder and more innovative than Rebirth, blending Eastern and Western aesthetics with various art forms. Critics hailed it as a significant breakthrough in contemporary art. At the opening ceremony, Nicole held my arm as we faced the media interviews and congratulations from the audience together. She wore a simple white dress, and around her neck was the Eye of Rebirth necklace we designed together. She completed the jewelry part based on my painting. Your collaboration seems even more in sync than your last project, a reporter asked with a suggestive smile. Nicole glanced at me, and we exchanged a smile. Yes, both in art and in life, we found the perfect balance. This indirect answer drew a round of good-natured laughter from the reporters present. My relationship with Nicole was no longer a secret, but we always kept a low profile, letting the public's attention remain focused on our artistic creations. After the exhibition, we drove out to a small hill in the countryside. There stood an ancient oak tree, beneath which Mary's ashes were laid to rest. This was the place we chose, rather than a traditional cemetery, natural, peaceful, just like Mary herself. Mary, the exhibition was a great success today, I said softly to the stone beneath the tree. Nicole's designs were admired by everyone, just as you once predicted. Nicole crouched down and placed a bouquet of white daisies in front of the stone. Teacher Nicole, I've been working hard to become the kind of designer you hoped I would be. I hope you can be proud of me. A gentle breeze stirred, and the oak's leaves rustled softly, as if it were Mary's reply. On the way back, Nicole suddenly said, "I've been thinking about something." "What is it?" "If that woman who pretended to be Ms. Nicole hadn't appeared, you might never have found the blood amber, never created the pursuit, and we might never have met." Her words made me fall into deep thought. Indeed, it was the series of events triggered by that deception that ultimately led to everything now. It feels as if, in the unseen, some force has been orchestrating it all. "Perhaps that's the irony of fate," I said softly. "Sometimes, the worst beginnings can lead us to the best endings." When I returned home, I received an unexpected package. Upon opening it, I found a delicate little box containing a handmade ring. Though simple, the craftsmanship had improved greatly compared to the pieces I had seen before. There was a note attached. "Mr. George, thank you for your kindness and understanding a year ago, which gave me the courage to start over. Now I have found a job at a small jewelry shop, and my life is gradually getting back on track. This ring represents my gratitude, and I wish you happiness and well-being on your new path." "Luna," I handed the ring to Nicole. After examining it carefully, she remarked, "Her skills have improved a lot. She truly is talent." "Some mistakes in life shouldn't become permanent scars," I sighed. "Everyone deserves a second chance." That night, we sat in the studio, discussing ideas for the next series. Nicole suddenly proposed a bold idea. I was thinking, maybe we could try connecting the different stages of our work to create a complete narrative. From eternity to quest, then to rebirth, and intertwined, they're actually different phases in a person's life journey. "You mean?" "A complete story about loss, searching, rebirth, and integration," she explained excitedly, ultimately asking what is the most precious treasure in life. "Love." I finished her sentence. "No matter what form it takes." Nicole nodded, her eyes sparkling with creative fire. "We could call it the forms of love, an unprecedented artistic exploration." "Sounds like a long-term, ambitious project." "We have time," she smiled, holding my hand. "We have so much time." In that moment, I felt a powerful surge of creative inspiration, just like when I first began my artistic career years ago, filled with passion and possibility. But this time, I was not facing the blank canvas alone. 2 years later, the Forms of Love series was exhibited simultaneously in the world's 5 greatest art museums, causing an unprecedented sensation. Critics called it a milestone in contemporary art history, blending painting, sculpture, jewelry design, and other art forms to create an entirely new artistic language. The final piece of the exhibition was titled Eternal Ring, a massive circular canvas depicting every form of love in life, familial, platonic, romantic, and the love for art itself. The edge of the canvas was inlaid with gemstones of various sizes, and under certain lighting, these gems would cast light onto specific parts of the canvas, revealing another hidden layer of patterns. The centerpiece of this work is a massive blood amber. Through intricate optical design, the light it projects perfectly outlines 2 embracing figures. One is Mary, the other is Nicole, symbolizing the intersection of past and present, the fusion of memory and rebirth. On the closing day of the exhibition, in front of the Eternal Ring, I knelt on one knee and proposed to Nicole. The ring was crafted from the very blood amber Mary had once prepared for me, designed by my own hand and fashioned by the finest jeweler. "This ring carries the memories of the past and the hopes for the future," I whispered softly. "Nicole, will you be the eternal ring in my life?" Her tears sparkled under the spotlight. "I will." Amidst the cheers, I remembered what Mary once said, "Love does not disappear, it merely changes its form." Yes, love does not disappear. It exists in memories, in art, in every rebirth and new beginning. It traverses time and crosses space, like that blood amber which, after millions of years, still shines, forever retaining the original warmth and brilliance of life. This is the answer I have been searching for all along. Between loss and gain, between seeking and rebirth, love remains constant, only appearing in different forms along the journey of life. And all we need to do is bravely accept this gift, no matter how it comes to us. On the day of the wedding, the sky was a clear, washed blue. Beneath the ancient oak tree that had watched over Mary, We exchanged our vows. A gentle breeze stirred, making the leaves whisper as if blessings were drifting in from another world. No matter when or where, Nicole said softly, we'll always remember that it was she who brought us together. Yes, I squeezed her hand, and we will always cherish this gift. In the brilliant sunlight, the blood amber ring gleamed, radiant as life itself, enduring the passage of time, yet still shining bright.